Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Got a bunch of cool things to talk about today. Unfortunately, my voice isn't holding up much better, so I apologize up front about the coughs. So thank you, Berner, for your question. What is market cap? It's the single stupidest metric inside of all of finance, but we will talk about that and why it's actually so irrelevant. It's kind of pathetic, but it's talked about all the time. You know, it's splashed all over CNBC. And it can be so confusing. Also today, going on in the headlines is we have the GameStop, and that's the official name of the hearings going on with Congress. So we get to watch. I kind of think it's funny because you have Congress people who aren't necessarily the most savvy financial folks trying to ask these like super smart financial type questions, which sometimes can be really kind of dumb questions. But anyhow, then you have folks inside finance answering them who actually know the stuff a lot better. So it'll be kind of entertaining. I don't really expect anything to come out of it, but it'll be somewhat interesting to watch and hear what everybody says. Again, the testimonies have been kind of pre-released. Roaring Kitty, the Keith Gill guy, that was kind of the person leading all of this. Basically, he's saying what I'm sure his lawyers advised him to say is he's like, I like GameStop. I think the stock is undervalued and it should go higher. That's it. I don't care if they ask him what his favorite color is. That should be his answer is I like GameStop and I think the stock's undervalued and that it should go higher. Regardless of what the question is, that should be his answer. Excuse me. And he'll be fine. But I think it will be interesting. The Robinhood CEO will be on there and really digging into some of the limitations of Robinhood. There's several class action suits that have propped up from this. If you're caught in that and you want to hop in on a class action suit, feel free to do so. I do know folks that were locked out of positions. They can prove that it cost them thousands of dollars. So yeah, hop on in. I don't know if you'll ever see any of your money back, but certainly for Robinhood to take the actions that they did, which they kind of had to actually, but to run a company like that, as thin as that, to where you have to take the actions that they did, I do think it could be the end of Robinhood. I really do. There's just too many lawsuits against it. So we shall see. But our topic of the day is what we're going to talk about is get this insanity. So I find out this morning that there's a company out there called BlockFi, and some of you may laugh and you're like, I've heard of that years ago. Okay. Yeah. All right. I got it. I can't know everything. So in 2017, this company came out. Remember 2017, if my math is right, that's kind of when crypto did the big, or Bitcoin at least, did kind of the first big run up, I want to say to 19,000. I think that was the 2017 timeframe. But there is literally a company out there now that is getting ready to release a Bitcoin rewards credit card, which, this is BlockFi as the company. So if you store your crypto within, you can get like 8% interest. I had a person yesterday telling me about all this and I was stupid not to do it. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that, but I'm certainly listening and did a bunch of research last night. And again, some this morning. You can borrow money against your crypto, which is kind of genius. I was laughing at Michael Saylor is the guy's name from MSTR yesterday, who is borrowing money to buy crypto, and listening to what he's actually saying is pretty amazing. I said, that's how to leverage to the max and don't do that. Well, then I was like, well, he brings up some really good points. So we'll talk about that once we get into the actual show. So that's what we've got in store for you today. Great show. Thanks for listening in. If you're catching us on replay, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell. If you want to join us live, it's $25 to come on into the room. We can chat real time. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's get over to our sheet for the day. Make sure I shared that out correctly. Let's do that one more time. All right, here we go. There's our morning brief. Make sure you have your chat window and your Q&A window set up as well. And most importantly, standard, this is a financial education presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence before you act upon anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at OTOT now, .com. All right, February 18th, day number, 150 of the Texas snowstorm, it seems. So still surviving, still up power. So life moves on. Okay, here's the stuff we're going to talk about, but I do want to address your Q&A question first. Burner, great question, right? So what is market cap? You see, so if you had a stock, so market cap is simply the, I'm reading the total dollar market value of a company's outstanding shares of stock. So if you have 1 million shares, or let's take a startup, say it has 1 million shares and excuse me, let's say it has 10 million shares and their share value is $1.70. Well, at $1.70 times $10 million outstanding shares, 10 million shares, would be 17 million. So they're saying their market cap is $17 million. That is a private example. In a public example, say there's a stock out there worth, I don't know, $1, and they have 1 million shares outstanding. Well, that company has a $1 million market cap. If that stock goes from $1 to $5, then it now has a $5 million market cap. So market opens here in 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 12 minutes, and the stock price goes up from $1 to $5. So guess what changed at that company in the 4 seconds it took for the stock price to go from 1 to 5? Nothing. Absolutely nothing changed, right? So you can throw, it's just what the last, remember, spot prices with the last 2 idiots on the planet paid for the stock, and it can change. So to think that market cap is a realistic value, I mean, if you look at the ultimate example I can think of is Tesla. Tesla is bigger market cap than all the other like car makers in the world combined. It may not be all of them, but at least the US car makers combined. Tesla's bigger. What does that have to do with anything? They made 500,000 cars last year. That's literally an irrelevant data point. I mean, irrelevant number of cars, 500,000. That's nothing, right? But they have a market cap bigger than everybody. So what does that mean? I mean, it's just so stupid. So anyhow, but you just said it's a great question. It can be very confusing. I don't put anything behind market cap. The reason it's calculated and thrown out so much is, if you remember back in the 80s, companies were buying each other all the time. Well, that's why people would talk about it, is you would have to have enough money on your balance sheet to be able to buy, the market cap of a firm. So that's kind of why it was used. Now you don't have these outright buys, hostile takeovers. You still have mergers, but anyhow, it's not really the same. So anyhow, enough on that. Great question though. Appreciate it. Okay, mission objective standards. Here's what we're going to talk about is this Bitcoin rewards at BlockFi credit card. I guess I have to get one of these, right? So I feel a little bit, when I'm sitting here reading about Bitcoin literally every day for the past month, right? It's kind of annoying. I kind of don't understand it. I kind of think I'm smart, but I'm not smart enough to really understand what they're saying some of the time. So I do have to laugh because I picture myself sitting in a small town in Ohio, as I got what was called Compute Magazine. And in the back of Compute Magazine, they had these software programs where there was all these ones and zeros, like 4 pages. And if you sit there and typed them all into this keyboard thing, into this box thing, then you could have a game that was like play Pong or something. And it was just like, I have no mental capacity to understand how that works. I remember having a conversation with a family member of how, the family member, specifically my dad, was kind of like, this computers, blah, 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 never use them, blah, blah, blah. I feel like we might be sitting there, and I might now be my dad, thinking that, I don't know, man, this Bitcoin stuff, it's like so much magic goes into all of this, but could they be right? And that's what's interesting. So anyhow, we'll take a look at BlockFi today. I'm not ready to, I'm invested in Bitcoin. I got in at 31,000, so I'm thrilled with that. But I don't know how the story ends. I'm not pretending to know how the story ends, but it's certainly something I monitor every day. Crypto arbitrage. We're going to talk about that today specifically. And these are not any, we're not talking any long-term investments today. All right, let's look at the market real quick since the futures are in the red, and then we'll come back to that. So yeah, here was our day yesterday, kind of a flat day. Decent futures are in the red now. So even if we have a sell-off of 2% today, again, it's not a big move in the big picture of things. So got a little sell-off yesterday, kind of ran higher, reversed all that. Not much going on, if you will, in the overall market. All right, let's go to CNBC real quick, and I will show you some headlines for today, a walk around the world. There's our futures in the red, near 1% or averaging around 1%. Europe in the red, Asia mixed. There's our numbers from yesterday. Dow's been on fire. NASDAQ's been taking a hit. Apple's been taking a hit specifically. Bonds at 1.3, oil above 60, and crypto still hanging above 50,000, so 51,000. So no big deal. All right, over into the headlines of the day. I'm kind of surprised this wasn't a BlockFi ad since I was on BlockFi this morning. All right. So here's the big hearing today. I don't have the time for it. I'd imagine mid-afternoon or so, generally when those things go down. Agree, GameStop was like gambling. Yep, no societal purpose. I would agree. Okay, so when you look at the four players for this hearing, so you've got Keith Gill, the Roaring Kitty guy, retail investor. Yeah, he's got a background in finance, but he's not licensed. So again, he can say what he wants and do what he wants without giving a disclaimer. Even though obviously he's being advised to stay very close and narrow to his message. You've got the Robinhood guy who has lots of splaining to do, right? Then you have the Citadel guy, which is again custodian for Robinhood, that also has some explaining to do about what's exactly going on, even though I think they'll be fine. They're just answering straight questions. And then the last one is the Melvin Capital, the hedge fund that was basically brought to its knees. Whatever, they'll be fine in the big game. It'll be interesting to see the kind of questions that come out of that. But an interesting lineup for sure. I hadn't heard that. Walmart to hike wages for 425,000 workers to an average above 15 an hour. I did not realize that Walmart paid that much. That is pretty impressive. It's a lot of product they have to move to be able to pay their workers that, so good for them. Okay. Don't know where that went, but let's get rid of it. Okay. I want to talk about this MicroStrategy first. It's the MSTR. This is the Michael Saylor guy. So he's basically borrowing money. And here was his point. So this is, I hope to explain this well. When you borrow money, you don't pay any taxes on it. So he's borrowing money, basically tax-free. And then he's turning around with that money and he's buying Bitcoin. And he's saying, I'm never going to sell this asset. So it's like, okay, well, if you buy it tax-free and you buy Bitcoin tax-free and you never sell it, there's literally no taxes. And I was like, what? That actually kind of makes sense. And then the Bitcoin, obviously, if the Bitcoin goes to zero, that's a problem. But if the Bitcoin does increase over time, like you would expect a digital store of value to do, maybe not double 100,000 by the end of the year, but if you expect it to creep up like 3 to 5% a year, then this is genius, right? And I'm like, wait. People do this all the time. They do it with their houses. So you buy your house, you wait for your house to appreciate. And then if you paid off your mortgage, you realize, okay, that's probably pretty dumb. You go back and now you refi. So you refi money back out of your house from either money you paid in or appreciation money, doesn't matter. You take that money back out and now you can turn around and invest that money. If you're jamming that money into IRAs, you're never paying taxes on that stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of like exactly what people are doing anyway. And if you don't ever sell your house, say you live in your house forever, that's fine. Or once you do, if you're married, you get up to 500,000 tax free. But it's kind of crazy that that is exactly what people are doing. That's very efficient, and he's just doing it. It's kind of like Apple. Apple's out there, borrowing money to buy back their stock, and they have billions on their balance sheet. They're just doing it because money's cheap, right? So money efficiency, pretty impressive. Some of these things that are doing. I would not touch his stock. It's kind of crazy, but it's interesting how well he explained that. Much better than I did. Okay, BlockFi. Here's the website. If you want to go to just blockfi.com. Future of finance. I'm like, okay, that sounds smart. Earn more from your crypto. If you just put your crypto in their account, you can get up to 8.6 interest annually. I'm like, what? Nothing's paying that. So I just buy crypto and throw my crypto in here, and they pay me, it's just like a bank account, accrues daily and pays monthly. Like, well, that's genius. If you want to trade, yep, you got a trading account. I'm even skipping that because here's your arbitrage. You can borrow monies for as low as 4.5%. So it's like, wait, time out. So I can make 8.6. I can borrow at 4.5. So if all this is true, how much would you do that? Yeah, you do that all day, every day, and literally 8 days a week if you could create an 8th day, right? I'm making 8.4, borrowing at 4.5. Now, the risk is, if the crypto goes to zero and it's all over. Plus, I did look up, BlockFi does not hold your money. They're not a custodian. The custodian is Gemini, and Gemini is not FDIC insured. So again, right, you're right. Good point, Burner. If crypto fails, then what? But if it doesn't fail, if your thesis is right, or if you use this with a small amount of money, not only are you holding the crypto and getting the appreciation, just like buying a house and getting the appreciation in the house, you're getting all these benefits along the way. And the last thing I'll close with is check this little card out. This is pretty cool. I'm actually going to be stupid enough to get on the wait list today for this. The world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card, because why not? 1.5% back in Bitcoin on every purchase. Join the wait list. Sure. I'm game. Whatever. I mean, I know I can't lose money by getting a credit card. So anyhow, it's kind of interesting. So pretty slick website. Again, they've been around for a few years. So something to consider. I'm not endorsing it by any means. I'm saying, I'm going to have to get on the wait list for that stupid credit card. All right. I haven't looked to see if they charge an annual fee. You're right. That is a good point. All right, let's take a look at our day trades. We got NTR going long. First of all, Luckin popping up this morning. Clickstream also popping up this morning if you're following that saga. NTR and Twilio long. I'm going to put all three shorts up there, actually. IQ missed earnings. The Chinese Netflix, so they're selling off pretty hard. S Power, Sun Power also missed earnings. And last one is AM, which I can't remember. Okay, welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. We have 5 seconds to the market open. Here's the opening bell. We have 3 screens in front of you. These are all shorts. First of all, the overall market is in the red for today. So we've got IQ, Sun Power, and AM, which I can't remember what it was. But IQ is probably my favorite short, especially since it's backing up. They missed earnings, so we'll keep an eye on them. Sun Power, can't remember the story. I don't know what their company does outside of just that they met our criteria. And then also AM, a little lighter in volume out there. But we're going to look at IQ. Again, it's backing up. We're at a 25-cent stop area, so we're going to wait for the high of the day to establish. Looks like 23 is that high of the day. So that puts us in at 22.75. I want to give that a little buffer, so I'm going to give it all the way down to 22.70. So I'm going to use a 30-cent stop on this today. When you look at that SPWR, hold on, I better shut up while this is about to trigger. When you look at the SPWR, you can be tempted to hop in on that. That is not a setup you want. All right, looking for 22.70 on IQ. And again, you don't take it till it hits. There it hit. So depending on your entry point there, it might be down at 22.6. You had a chance to take it. It's still bouncing around there. Up to 23 is the upper stop. You always want to get that in first. And then, of course, every 30 cents on the way down, so 22.4. Get the arrow in here in case there's any confusion. So still have time to take the trade. 2210, and then 2180 is the exit point. All the way down here. So zoom back out here a little bit. Okay. It's got to hold 23 again. If it makes a new high of the day, then we're out, and we are out, and that's it. So we'll see if it holds here. So far, so good. Looks like there's some resistance there at 22.96. Another way I don't do it in here because it's too confusing. You can pull the level 2 up, and you can actually see the order flow sitting there. How much of a buyer is there at buyers and sellers at 22.96. So yeah, there you go, busted back out of that trade. So unfortunately, the trade did not work. All right, let's see what's going on in the world. SunPower backed up. That would not have worked. A&M. Don't know the storyline here, but I don't mind the fact that it's backing up some. So you could take a short here in A&M. You're going to get in with a 10-cent stop or so. If you're interested, I'm not going to call another trade, but it is there for you. Let's take a look at some other names. We'll switch to a long here on this screen. Twilio. TWLO. I think Twilio is Austin based, if I remember right. So there's the big gap up from 410 to 475. Again, they crushed earnings, so tough price point, if you will, for day trading. When you look at Twilio and where it's been, I mean, this stock's been crazy. So 75 all the way up to what, 450. So heck of a run for Twilio. I would not buy into it here. Let's see what else we have. NTR is another interesting one. So not exciting at all when you think of NTR as far as the nutrient. So you're thinking as far as fertilizer, that sort of thing. The world needs fertilizer. Bill Gates owns all the farmland, so he's going to need fertilizer for his crops, that sort of thing. But look at the move it's been in here. And if you pull up the FinViz, because I was like, ooh, the NTR beat earnings, they increased their dividend, and they announced a stock repurchase program. Those are all catalysts for the stock to go higher. And I was like, oh, hey, maybe it's time to move back into NTR. No, not really. Their PE is like 400. At least Tesla has some theories that it might populate the world with, autonomous taxis. I don't see NTR delivering on a theme of that world-changing proportion, if you will. Okay. All right. That's NTR. Let's go and see what's going on in the rest of the world. All right, there's Twilio. Luckin we already talked about. So you know the story of Luckin. There was another article yesterday about the CEO has been cleared of all wrongdoing. So after you had China come after him, you had the U.S. come after him. The stock price tanked. Part of the SEC was a Chapter 15 debt restructure that for some reason people didn't think they knew about. So the stock dropped from like 13 to like 5 or whatever. There's, you kind of see the big fall off. And now everybody's realizing, oh, that was already baked in. It's like, yeah, you're right, it was. And now the CEO, they had to conduct an internal investigation. They found out that he's not involved in any wrongdoing. So stock's healing pretty good. So we'll see, something to keep an eye on. Volatility, the market's down today. So for those that are sitting on some VXX, which is a few of us, volatility is up. Again, really holding out for that 20, not really caring if it gets up to 16 or whatever. If it gets down to 15, we buy more. Not very many names in the green here, though. Look at this. What, 12, 15 names in the green. All right, let's look at names in the red. Palantir, man, has it been hit hard. So just continues to fall. Was up at 38. Here was the earnings beat. That's why it's in the green. Well, losing's beat, right? Because it doesn't have earnings, because it's a minus up front, but it lost less than projected. I wondered, I did consider when the headline came out with Palantir signed a big contract with IBM. I was like, IBM? That's like signing a contract with a flipping T-Rex. I mean, you talk about it, terrible future of a company. IBM has just been completely imploding for years. I mean, maybe that was the kiss of death that, it's like combined with Twilio or something, or BlockFi or SoFi or, Michael Saylor and his MSTR or something. At least that's, pointing in the right direction. IBM, it's like, holy crap. Probably not the person or the company to partner with. But anyhow, I do believe in the long-term thesis. So it's kind of painful if you want to pick up more here. If you have a ton of it, don't pick up more. But if you don't have any, or if you're have a little bit of and you want to double your position or so, now would be a good time to do that, in my opinion. I don't know how much lower it's gonna go. PSTH is Bill Ackman's SPAC. It's kind of been on fire lately. So had the news of there was some talk that it was going to be the company for Lucid Motors. I don't think that's true. I think it's going to be Churchill Capital. But anyhow, speaking of SPACs, so we'll let this go. Let's go over to BlockFi again and take a look at this, and I'll close for the day. So BlockFi, so you're like, hey, this sounds like a company we should invest in, right? Well, I hear you. I looked at, I did that same thing. I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, this is all kinds of crazy and I can't quite get my head around it. I go, but it's certainly well presented, right? And, if they're right, this would be like ignoring the personal computer back in the day, or saying smartphones are stupid because nobody's going to want to carry one of those around. Okay, well, investing, you're never going to be completely right on everything. So you have to realize I could be wrong. And if you're going to be wrong on something, you want to, not miss out completely. When you look at the backing, so here's the capital behind these, about Winklevoss twins. They're the ones that kind of claim they were the initial folks in Bitcoin. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. But they were the ones that kind of created Facebook. Zuckerberg kind of stole their idea in college. That story, Social Network, if you want to watch it. But the, a lot of big names behind this, but they're talking about going through an IPO through a SPAC. So again, the special purpose acquisition companies, don't know which one. I would imagine with a name like this, it'd be one of the heavy hitters, like an Ackman or a Supernova, or, I would imagine they would not tie their IPO to anybody less than the elite level. So we shall see. All right, let's see about that credit card, right? Who was it? Let's see, Burner, unless they charge an annual fee. Join the wait list. Let's see what that says. You do have to be accredited to get this card. I did see that. Now, I think if to buy crypto at all, I think you have to be accredited, which I'm sure people just click that box and move on when they go on to Coinbase or whatever. So it does not appear that they're going to own up to any waitlist questions. All right. Any fees associated with joining the waitlist? Well, probably not. That'd be kind of silly. All right, so can't find out. So, all right, that's all I got for your day, you guys. Looks like we're gonna have a red day in the market, which we're kind of overdue for one. So don't freak out too bad, even though the bounces will be going down. And with that, we will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.